What is up, guys? Welcome back to Overspray. So, due to a subscriber request, we have a request of how to remove a paint run. So I'm going to be doing a video on how to remove a paint run or a run in the clear. As you guys could see, or as you guys already know, I've already went ahead and painted this bumper and the trunk as well. And as you can see, what a difference a paint job really does. Okay, the car is already starting to look a lot better, but we did have a paint run. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the paint run, and then I'm gonna go ahead and explain 3 different methods of how to remove a paint run. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and let you guys see the paint run, and hopefully you guys could catch that. You can see it's a pretty nice little run, not too big, but it extends from here all the way down to the bottom of the drip, as you can see right there. Yeah, it's a little difficult to see, but I'm pretty sure you guys are able to catch that, right? And as you could already tell, I've already been starting to cut and buff the rest of this trunk, or more than, you know, color sanding than buffing. But anyway, I wanted to save the rest of it for later, but in this video I'm going to show you how to remove a run from your clear, right? And so essentially there is 3 methods of removing a run when it comes to paint defects, right? Now the first one is with sandpaper and maybe some body filler, or even glazing putty will work just fine as well. Typically I recommend glazing putty more than body filler, because glazing putty is a lot easier to remove off the surface. But you know, either method still works. It's really going to depend on you. So let me explain what you do with the glazing putty method, and then we'll go ahead and continue what you do with the rest of them. So the glazing putty method and the sandpaper method, obviously they're going to be both one and the same. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and apply glazing putty on the run and the surrounding area, and you're going to let that dry. Then you're going to go ahead and grab a block with your sandpaper. It could be 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. I would recommend, if it's your first time doing it, probably starting with either 1,500 or 2,000, because I think 1,000 grit sandpaper is just going to be too aggressive, okay? And especially where this run is at, it's right near an edge, and you can easily burn through the paint on that edge, okay? So I would recommend with a little bit higher of a grit if you're gonna go this route. So we're just gonna pretend we've already put body filler on this area, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna begin to sand the surface of the run with the body filler, okay? And the theory with this, and it does work, by the way, I've done it before like this. So what you do is when you put that body filler on and you're sanding it, since the run is higher than the surface of the rest of the paint, you're going to be sanding down that run first before you get to the surrounding edges. If you didn't use body filler, what would end up happening is, if you go to sand this, yes, you are going to be sanding the run, but you're also going to be sanding the surrounding areas. And that's what you don't want, because what eventually will happen is by the time you get that down to that run, you've already probably sanded through the paint already, and you're going to damage these surrounding areas by the time you get that run out. Also, you might be wanting to keep its original orange peel, right? Or off the gun orange peel, or maybe you're matching the orange peel of the rest of the car. So if you go and do that method, this whole area is going to be flat, and then you're going to have to do the entire car basically at that point, or the surrounding panels. So that's why you want to use body filler in the surrounding areas, and then go ahead and sand down the run, right? Until you get to a close enough area, close enough that the run is basically to the surface of the rest of the panel, and that is the body filler and sandpaper method, right? Then the next method is going to be your nib file, okay? And what a nib file is basically just like a file. It's a one-way file, to be honest. It's a one-way file. Piece of a file got cut off and stuck to a piece of wood is basically what it is. And the drawback, well, the benefits with the nib is that it's very aggressive, okay? It cuts down the run very, very aggressively, so you can get down to a certain amount very, very quickly, right? Or to the surface of the paint very, very quickly. The problem with this is, and in this instance, this run here on top is pretty close to the surface, right? I could feel it with my hand, but it's not very, high. It's not protruding the surface very high. And the problem with these files is they don't get down to the surface very, very easily, right? The file would have a hard time filing down the rest of this run. It might get the high spot very, very easily, but the rest of it, it's going to be very difficult for this file to be able to file down that run. But essentially what you do with this file is you basically, you're basically rubbing or shaving down that run until you get closer to the surface, and then you can start using your sandpaper in order to remove the run. So let me go ahead and take this guy out. Now, just as the instructions tell you, if you're going this route, if you're going the nib route, just like on the instructions, it says paint should be fully dried before using this nib file, right? And this is what the nib file looks like. Like I said, it just looks like a piece of file glued on to a piece of wood. You can see they didn't really do a very good job because it's not completely flat, right? But and it's a one-way. You could actually look at it on the sideways and see which way you're actually supposed to cut, right? That's why it's a one-way file. Getting back to the subject at hand, so the paint has to be very, very dry or fully cured before you go this method, all right? Before you cut that run. The reason why is because if the paint is too soft, this will easily damage your paint, okay? And also these corners on this file are extremely sharp. You can easily scratch the surface of the paint with just this file alone, okay? So that's why I don't recommend it for this type of run, because the run is so close to the surface of the paint. If I went to go and try to file down that run with this file or with this nib file, then I have a chance to possibly scratching the rest of the I don't want to risk scratching the rest of the panel that's nearby, so I'm not going to use this method. I could use it for just this part right here, that high spot drip, as you can see right there. You see that? So this file could easily get to this drip, but the rest of the run right here is not very it's not very big, right? So let me show you real quick. Let me look at which way this thing cuts. And just real quick here, I'm gonna go ahead and start to shave down this run. And as you can see right there, it started to scratch just the surface of the run, right? And we're going very, very careful. You could use some water with this too if you want, but you could see right there, you see that? It's already starting to scratch the run, right? And what we're doing is we're just shaving away very, very carefully that run until we can get it close enough to the surface, right? And you want to hold this nib very, very carefully, because if you grab it too loosely and the corner kind of digs in, it could scratch this paint, like I said. So this method works if the run is very big, but if it's very close to the surface of the panel, I don't recommend using a nib because you will end up scratching it. Also, the thing with nibs is that it's for nibbing, right? So if you got a piece of trash or something like that that's protruding, let's give this one an example. You got a little bit of a trash right here. All you would do is you'd start to nib that little trash, and it will cut the surface of that. The next method I'm going to show you is with a razor blade. Yes, just a regular razor blade. Now, there's a particular razor blade that you want to stay away from. So this is the one you want to use, right? So it's completely a square razor blade, right? Stay away from the ones that you use for the utility knives, right? That are more kind of a what do they call that shape? I guess a rhombus shape or something like that. Stay away from the utility knife ones because they do have a very, very elongated edge. And I'm going to show you a trick on how you can prevent scratching with this razor blade when using the razor blade method. But anyways, so the razor blade method is kind of similar to the file, right? So what we're doing is with the razor blade, we're actually shaving like this, right? And we're very, very carefully just shaving down that run, right? And what we're doing is we're watching that run. You could already start to see where that run is already starting to be removed, and see some of the scratching right there. You see that? So what we're doing is we're removing, or we're shaving actually, with the razor blade. So razor blade is kind of an old technique, but it still works to this day. Still a very good method, but you do have to be careful as well. Obviously, we're dealing with very sharp tools here. So I'm actually going to end up masking off everything, and especially these edges right here, because the last thing I want is to shave right through an edge, and then yeah, it's game over from there. I'm gonna have to either touch up or repaint this area depending on what it looks like. So basically those are the three methods I know on how to remove a run, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. I just wanted to quickly talk about it, and well, I think it's enough talking. Let's get down to it. Alright, so I don't know what the heck happened with the GoPro. Apparently I recorded everything upside down. So yeah, so we missed a big chunk of the video. But anyway, what I was doing was I was going ahead and using this file and shaving down the high spot of the runs first. Now I went ahead and taped off the area where basically I don't want to accidentally gouge paint in this area, right? Because we do have a very narrow area, and it'll be very easy to cut. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and use the file. We're gonna go ahead and start to cut the high spot of that run. And like I said, you want to use this file for very high runs, right? Because they don't necessarily do too well with runs that are very close to the panel. So we're just cutting down those high spots, and then we're going to start going ahead and do the other remaining parts, right? So we're going to move this tape here because it looks like we're getting closer to the surface, and we're going to go ahead and start to file down that area right there. So now we've already gotten to a point where we can basically start to switch over to our razor blade, and we're going to go ahead and do that now. All right, so my razor blade method, this is my quick little razor blade tip. Put a little bit of tape on one of the corners, because you are basically going to rest the razor blade like this and kind of work your way, or work your magic and shaving down that run. The reason why you want to tape this corner is because this corner is very sharp, and it could end up scratching something on this side even though your run is probably over here. So you want to tape off this area so that you don't accidentally, scratch where you don't want to scratch. Right? And let's go ahead and start to shave down that run. And I'm actually going to take you guys off my chest real quick and bring you guys closer so you guys can see. I'm going ahead and shaving down this run. You could start to see the run here. And like I said, what I'm doing here is just shaving away, and you could actually see the shavings of that clear coat, right? And this is not for the faint of heart, you know, so if you're not comfortable doing this with the razor blade, seek some probably professional help because it's not something that most people like to do, right? No one wants to take a razor blade to a fresh paint job. But as you can see the process, I'm just starting to shave down the rest of that run with the razor blade and try to get as much of that run out as possible. And until we get to basically a level surface here, you're going to end up seeing it actually where the run is actually to the surface of the rest of the panel. And that's basically where you stop, right? If you keep shaving down, eventually, yeah, you'll hit gold, right? You'll hit the area where you need, where you know you're gonna stop, right? And the only person that's gonna know when to stop is you. So that all just comes with practice. I've done this for some time now, so I've gotten plenty of runs. It's just something that you have to deal with sometimes, right? And that's why we all try to get better at painting so that we can avoid these types of, runs. And, everybody gets runs. Even, professional painters get runs, right? I'm not saying they get runs all the time, but eventually they get a run here or there. And so, yes, they do get runs, okay? Anybody that tells you they never get runs is lying to you, because it's either they're lying to you, or when they finally do get a run, they're not going to know how to fix it because supposedly they've never gotten a run before, right? So, yeah, take it from me. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and continue off camera because, like I said, this camera keeps dying on me, keeps shutting off. But that's essentially the process of removing a run, is shaving with a razor blade or even with a nib if you have one. Not everybody has one. That's why I'm showing this method and showing you guys. You don't need all the latest and greatest tools to get this done. You can use some stuff at home to get the same results. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and continue on shaving with the razor blade, and then I'll show you guys once I get into the sanding part and then buffing it out. Alright, so getting down to the nitty gritty here, I can already start to see that the run is now close to the edge. See this? See how the run, so the run before, and let me show you with the other edge. The run before went down like this and dripped down. You see the surrounding area is now, so it makes the run look bigger, right? That's how you know you've gotten to the point where the run is close to the surface of where it needs to be, basically, where the surface is flat. Now we still got to continue on this edge, but I'm very scared to get close to this edge because one wrong move and I could completely clean off that paint right on that edge. So I'm a little worried on that one, but for the most part, the rest of the run has already been removed. And let me just demonstrate real quick. See that? See how that one? See how that the run is now is now onto the surface of the rest of the panel, or flat to the surface of the rest of the panel. You can see that. So basically, that run is out. We're gonna go ahead and do this little corner right there just to show you guys. So start to see it's actually diminishing little by little, starting to go away, See that? It's already starting to disappear. So basically we got that run out, guys. It's done. So, and you could actually feel it too. It's pretty much gone. It could use a little bit more, but I don't want to go too crazy because there are some scary parts where this runs at that I don't want to end up scratching that edge. So just gonna stop for now, but as you can see, that run is pretty much gone now. I do not feel it with my hand. Now it's going to be time to actually sand. Once I get this little area down here, start to shave down this little edge right here, try to get as much of that as possible so that you can't see this run. And then we're gonna go ahead and switch to sanding, getting this area smooth, and then we'll buff it at the end, and then you'll see that the run is actually gone. So let's go ahead and continue that on, or continue doing that, and then I'll cut you guys back on. Using 2000 grit here. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out the results real quick. This is how you remove a run. You guys remember that the run was right here, and now it's completely gone, guys. Let me get closer so you guys can see. I just quickly used some Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound. I went to go buy this at Harbor Freight, and then I just went ahead and used my little mini snap-on polisher and polished it up real quick. Alright, and so there you have it, guys. How to remove a run. You can see it's completely out. I just quickly polished this because I gotta polish the whole trunk as well, but I ended up putting a little bit of tape just to protect the edges, but that's it, guys. That's how you do it. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Stay spraying, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. See ya.